I don't think we've actually spoken
Yeah,
before though.
you look familiar.
All
Yeah,
right.
you look
Well,
familiar.
I just have one of those faces, right?
That's right, a familiar face.
Exactly. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Our Past. Today I'm talking to Coke Daniels, the writer and director of Waterboyz, which is coming to theaters on September 13th, 2024. I'm going to talk to him right now, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. I'll spread a lot. Thank you. So, thanks so much for joining me today. I've got Coke Daniels, the writer and director of The Waterboyz, which is coming to theaters on September 13th, 2024. It is an inspirational coming of age story about a young black man trying to kind of like make it in his city, trying to like rise above, get enough money to go to college, make his life better, help pull him and his family up, but he has a lot of institutional and locational issues that come up that try to stop him. Is he able to overcome? You have to watch the movie to find out, but I am very excited to talk to you, so thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. So first question, like, you wrote this, like, how did you come up with this story? Is this, like a personal story? Is it something you've experienced? Is it something you've kind of like seen and wanted to write about? Because it was just such an interesting way to like start this, like to base this in this like young kid starting this small business, trying to like better himself and his friends.
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Los Angeles, but I've lived in Atlanta now for about 9 years. And a few years back, like mainly initially when I moved out here, you would see Waterboyz here and there, but it kind of really picked up during the pandemic when they became kind of a hot button topic here in Atlanta. During All-Star game, they had a video that went viral with kids like flashing hundreds of dollars from selling water in it. Just it just intrigued me the more I learned about them to kind of do a deep dive into it and kind of figure it out. Because at first I thought they were just on the side of the road selling dollar bottles of water and Gatorades, and I'm like, you can't make any real money doing that. But then once I did some more research and talked to some actual water boys and things of that nature, and just did tons and tons of research on this one, I found that they actually it's a very profitable business. In fact, I think Atlanta ran some kind of stats on it. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but it was basically a $10 million industry in Atlanta
Oh my
because
gosh.
people pull up and you want to support young entrepreneurs. So you'll say, here's $20, keep the change. Here's $50, keep the change. Here's, in some cases, here's $100, keep the change. Especially if there's big events going on in Atlanta, like people really want to try to support, young kids trying to do something positive with their life. And I just thought it was a great framework to kind of tell a coming of age story in the vein of like Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society and films like that, but based in Atlanta. So, it's a coming of age story, like you kind of explained, and just all the pitfalls that face kids in the inner city, not just in Atlanta, but everywhere, and the decisions and choices that we make, as young people when we kind of, reach these forks in the road.
Yeah, no, exactly. I loved seeing that like sense of community, seeing the cars pull up and like supporting these kids. Like essentially,
Yeah.
they know they're overpaying for water, but they want to like help these kids out and help them
Yes.
like learn the value of money. So I love seeing that part. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, and also, let's make no mistakes, because I have to keep it real. And in the film, we tell both sides of the story because there's also some water boys out here that don't have the right intentions in mind. And there's been, shootings and other violent incidences and confrontation with police and, people getting their phones snatched and stuff like that. So that's a lot of the media coverage that it gets here, at least locally. So I wanted to do something that showed the positive aspect, but we also had to show the negative aspect too, to keep it true to form and not act like all these young men out on the corner are handling business the right way and really trying to better and improve their lives. I mean, it's just like with any there's bad seeds in every bunch of any kind of industry you could name, or any most life situations. Period. There's the good and the bad.
Yeah, no, and that was an interesting part too, where you had like, the kids that are out there trying to better themselves and the other kids that are out there that are selling the water almost as a front, as a lot of businesses, right? Or well, I don't know, a lot of business, but you kind of hear that there can be gang activity in some legitimate business and they just
Yeah,
use it as a front. So is that, I mean, I
yeah,
assume that was a problem, during the pandemic. Is that kind of still a problem? Is there still like a debate over whether the water boys should be allowed to sell, or is that kind of like squashed
yeah.
as society has opened
Nah,
up?
nah. It's an ongoing thing, and we kind of flash forward to the future of like the maybe the mayor's office. The mayor's office have tried to get involved a couple times, but it's it's a sticky situation because you don't want to shut them all down based on a few bad seeds again and bad instances, and really take opportunities away from young men of color who are already lacking opportunities. So now you're taking another thing away from them. So, and there's in the film we show it. There's sometimes the police will roll up on the kids and empty out their coolers and throw their waters away. So because it's not necessarily legal, but it's not necessarily illegal. So it's like a really thin line that's kind of become, a political issue here in Atlanta as well, which is ongoing. I mean, we haven't seen, thankfully, there hasn't been any major like bad Waterboy stories in the media in some time now. So, but yeah, it's definitely an issue. And that was the other thing that I thought I would be able to address too, is just the politics of it, of the Waterboys, that is. And again, it's something that kind of boxes in people and takes away another opportunity. Like, I think there's a world in which both could exist, of trying to, help, but also trying to contain it. It's a lot. It's a slippery slope. So I tried to address it the best way that I could at the time. I wrote this script 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So, it's an ever changing landscape just in general in the world and in these communities. And obviously, with the whole Waterboys thing in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, and the more I kind of like think about it, it's almost like an inner city kind of lemonade stand, except much more lucrative, much more
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like much more directed towards making a lot
Yeah.
of profit. But it's the same idea, right? Like lemonade stands,
Yeah,
no one
absolutely.
has a no one has a
And
license.
you
Yeah,
don't and you don't see police going over and kicking over little kids' lemonade stands.
yeah,
Well, we'll
yeah,
get into that. That'll be the sequel. We'll get into
yeah.
that next time.
Waterboys 2, Waterboys versus
Yeah.
Lemonade. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
is
like
that exactly. Is that
yeah,
yeah, it is. It is but it's brilliant, and like I said, I think it's something that just kind of developed over time. Like, I think initially it was a thing where they just was like, hey man, I'm gonna buy, 30 waters for $1 each, and then we sell them for, well, $30. I mean, 30 bottles of water for $4 for the pack. We're selling them $1 each. I'm gonna make, 40, $50. But then it just turned into something else. And then there's, some of them have merchandise now. And, I've read stories of kids starting LLCs and opening gaming trucks and doing things with the money and buying cars. Like our lead character is out for, he's looking to buy a car so he can get into college and then better himself. So, that like I said, that's what makes it such a difficult story to tell and such a polarizing story to tell, because there are people like, when I initially started, promoting it on social media and stuff, like people would jump in my comments like, yeah, somebody needs to do something with them little knuckleheads. And, and I don't like that, because it's not all of them. And that's what I really wanted to do, aside from tell a good coming of age story, a love story, a story of friendship between him and Dolo and things like that. But I just really wanted to show that, not all water boys are created equal.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And definitely give you
Yeah.
someone to root for in this whole conundrum.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you mentioned merchandise. One of the things I love seeing was the like Water Boys in the hood, bottles and
Yeah.
things like that. Was that something that, has been sold? Or did you come up with that for the movie because you wanted to make kind of like an homage to like Boys in the Hood, but kind of modernize
No,
it?
no, that's a real group of them here. Water Boys in the Hood. So we pulled them in to do a cameo. We actually brought them down to Miami for ABFF to do some promotions. They were outside of the venue hustling water, but handing out flyers for the film as well. So yeah, that's the kind of group of kids I'm talking about. Like, they have an LLC, they have merch, they're trying to do the right thing. They're just at that crossroads in life of trying to figure it all out. And they make a lot of money, especially their merch. You're in the city of Atlanta, you're going to see the Water Boys in the Hood merch like everywhere. So yeah, yeah, that's a real legitimate, you know, situation, group of young men, positive group of young men.
That is awesome. No, I love hearing that, and I love that you brought them down. I wonder how much money did they make when you were in Miami promoting it. I imagine they could have made a lot given
I
the
don't know.
heat.
We just let them do their thing. They were just passing out free bottles of their water with Water Boys in the Hood with our flyer, but they were also selling their t-shirts and hats. So I'm pretty sure they did pretty good. And I think
Yeah.
they even sold a couple of our t-shirts from the film. And I don't care though, because I just, like, all right, it's youth empowerment, and I liked, giving back, obviously, and involving them to a certain extent is just part of the culture.
Yeah, exactly. And giving them a cool experience, like something that they can
Yeah, yeah, it was
talk
great, man.
about.
Seeing them in Miami, they had a blast. Yeah, they had a blast down there.
So they were in the film. How did you get like, the rest of your cast in this movie? It was such an interesting cast. I love seeing like Quavo as like a bad guy. I love
Mhm.
seeing Achille McDowell. How did you kind of find them? Had you worked with them before, or was this like a normal casting call?
No, it was I mean, with all my films, I pretty much handpick the cast of people. Like I'll have what's called a sales deck where it's got cast selects like multiple choice, and then we kind of narrow it down. But Quavo was already always at the top of my list for the role Little Zoo, just because I wanted that role to feel authentic to Atlanta. And because a lot of times you see these type of films in this genre where they have the guy that's supposed to be the menace who's not really scary at all in real life. And it's hard, especially with social media, when everybody knows your whole life now. It's hard to kind of suspend reality and be like, come on now, I just seen that guy in this love story and now he's this tough Atlanta goon. So I thought Quavo was perfect for that. Always loved Lala. I love what she's been doing as an actress. A lot of people with her amount of sway and influence, they don't really do the work to move into acting. They just automatically think because they have this huge, fan base and following, they don't have to do the work. But Lala's really done the work. He's done an amazing job. Akili McDowell, I was a big fan of him from David Makes Man, the show that was on OWN. So yeah, I'm really like I pick and choose kind of, and I work with my casting director Michelle Lewitt, my producing partner Cameron Mitchell. He was involved in the casting process in terms of ideas and things of that nature. So, but yeah, they were, and everybody pulled their relationships. Omar Dorsey was pulled in through some mutual friends. Rockmund Dunbar, the same thing is like, but also this is my 10th film, so I've built a pretty substantial reputation for being a filmmaker that talent can trust. So that's the other thing is like, because obviously this is a low budget independent film, so nobody really got paid their rates. They got paid fairly according to SAG and things like that, but it wasn't a monetary situation is what I'm trying to say. They got involved with the project because they liked the material, they loved the story it was telling, and I was blessed enough to get all them on board.
Yeah, no, that's with most independent films. You do it because you love the movie. You do it because you believe in it. It's not a paycheck. It's because you kind of want to make this story and want to like get it out there and get it told. So it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was next question was gonna be like, did you try to hire like local Atlanta actors? Because some of the accents, dialect, I don't know what you would call it. I was like so thick. I almost wanted subtitles in my screener because I couldn't like
Yeah,
I
yeah, I've
kind of
heard that.
follow like roughly what was going on, but some of the lines I was like, I don't know
Yeah.
what they're saying, but it sounds good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well that's you're probably talking about mainly Dolo.
Yeah,
He's
Dolo,
a local
definitely.
actor. He's from
Yeah.
Atlanta. He likes to say east side of Atlanta. I believe Decatur is where he's from. Correct. Hopefully I'm not wrong and don't get checked by my Atlanta folks to be like Decatur ain't east side. But yeah, he's a real born and raised Atlanta. Well, actually, I think he was born in Virgin Islands, but he's been in Atlanta his whole life. So he's, yeah, his accent is really thick. A few of the other kids are from Houston, so they kind of have the same Southern drawl. And I wanted that because that's authentic to the culture. But I did also want to have a kid like Akili who speaks perfectly clear because, he's from Houston and, so, but he doesn't have the country accent, so it's not everybody that's from the South don't talk the same way. But at the same time, for it to be a down South movie, we had to have a couple of them guys where just like you said, you're like, what'd you say? Because I understand everything everybody says in Atlanta now, but when I moved here 9 years ago, it was a little different. But now it's second language to me. So, but yeah, like I said, he's especially Dolo. AJ Walker is his name. He's so authentic and so true to the culture, and I know people in Atlanta are going to see it and just fall in love with his character and say, man, yeah, that's Atlanta right there. And we had to have that in there because Atlanta is a very special place. It's very territorial, and you can't just do something of this magnitude and not respect and represent the culture.
Yeah, no, it definitely gives it a sense of authenticity. And Akili having like, almost no accent also fits with his character because he wants to leave. He
Yeah,
doesn't want to stay here. I mean, he
yeah,
loves Atlanta, I think, but he definitely wants to like he dreams of leaving and going somewhere else, somewhere different. So it makes sense that he would
no,
like
definitely,
have that sense of home.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, very diverse. I wanted the cast to be very diverse. I want them to all. I didn't want any of them to be the same. I want them all to be different kids because from an audience perspective, they're going to be able to look at one of these young men and say, "That's me," or they see pieces of themselves in that particular character. So it's almost like them seeing a reflection of themselves on the screen in their own experiences. With the coming of age, type situations in life, which we've all experienced of any ethnicity.
Yeah, for sure. One random question. How many bottles of water did you go through making this movie? Did you keep
Oh
count?
man, hey, we shot out this was by design too because the main thing that drew me to the Waterboy story is they sit out there in the peak time for their business is summertime, obviously when it's hot and everybody wants to drink a cold beverage and them young men be out there, 90-degree humidity, drenched in sweat, hustling water. So I wanted that to come across on the camera. So we shot in August in Atlanta. All the sweat is real. We didn't have to spritz nobody. And I told the hair and makeup people, I'm like, no, don't pat nobody down. The sweat plays, like, because it's a character in the film to add to the kind of just the story of like what these kids are going through to really try to make it out. Like they're out there putting themselves not only in, danger from the things that we showed in the film of like the other elements, but just the element of the heat. So yeah, we went through a lot of water. We went through tons and tons. When I'm on set, especially in Atlanta, I've shot 5 films out here now, and I've shot in the summer outside before, and I'm just make sure I stay hydrated. You'll pass out being outside for 12 hours in that type of heat. So it's yeah, tons of water.
Yeah, exactly. And
Thanks
also
to Walmart. Great value. Great value
Exactly.
gave us all our water for the film. So shout out to Walmart.
That's awesome. And it also
Yeah.
maximizes your indie budget, right? Like you don't need makeup. You got like
Yeah,
all that sweat's natural. You don't need to have any
it
effects
is.
whatsoever.
It is. No, don't spritz anybody. Like, yeah, and it saves the hair and makeup people. They can go sit in the trailer for a little while.
Exactly, exactly. So I know we have limited time. I'm gonna switch to a lightning round. There's just lightweight questions about the film. Want to see how your personal experiences map to things in the movie. Feel free to skip any of them. I won't be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable. First
Okay.
question. Did you have a hustle as a kid? Did you have anything that you did to make money?
Wow, that's a great question because I did, and I never even thought about that. Me and my friends used to sell candy bars in high school. I was in the drum section, and we used to sell candy bars, and we'd walk around with we'd go to Smart and Final and buy the candy bars. I forgot what it was, but we'd make good money selling candy bars at school. And in the drum section teacher, Miss Bruins, shout out to Miss Bruins, John Muir High School, she used to let us just set our boxes in her room on a table, and people would just buy candy. So yeah, that's so weird you said that. I've never thought about that. Great question. Yeah, I used to sell candy, man,
That's
when I was
awesome.
in high school.
That's
Yep.
awesome. No, and then yeah, that is another like legit. Like you're just trying to like provide a service, make a
Exactly.
little bit
Make
of
some
money.
money. Hey,
Exactly.
mom didn't have Air Jordan money. So I'm like, all right, I gotta try to hustle up some of this money myself. Probably the same kind of situations these kids have faced.
Yeah, yeah. Probably didn't make as much as these kids did, but no, still kind of like
No, I
good
did not.
roots.
I was not making what the Waterboyz make, unfortunately. Yeah.
When was the last time you bought a bottle of water from a water boy?
Um, it's been, it's so weird. I was just thinking the other day, I don't see them outside as much as I used to, but just for the sheer fact that I'm telling this story, every time I see any water boys standing out, I'm gonna roll down the window and contribute. It's hard though, because sometimes you will run into the aggressive ones where they just are insistent, and then you can't just buy one water for one of them because there's 5 of them out there, and they're like, "What about me, big bro?" And I got Cash App. You ain't got no more cash. I got Cash App. Like they're out there hustling. So it's been a while though. It's weird, and I don't know if it's because of. I don't think it's because of any crackdown, because I have, of course, when you do a film like this, you become the ambassador, and everybody sends me, "Hey, I was on this corner today and see some water boys, and I thought about the film." And so yeah, it's been a while, but definitely anytime I see them young men out there, even prior to coming up with the film, I always invite, people in general rarely keep cash, but I try to keep some kind of cash in my glove box or something to, look out for them when I see them.
Help the community practice what you preach. I love it. And the last question: these water boys made $300-500 in a few hours. What's the most you've made in a few hours, if you care to share?
Whew, I don't know. I mean, if we were to break down my film salaries and hourly rates, I'm pretty sure I made a pretty decent amount of money here and there. I'm pretty sure I made $300-400 an hour doing films, but yeah, never nothing. And that's a great question as well. That's what makes it so hard for them to walk away and do something else when people are like, "Hey, you can't do this. Go do something else." It's like, what am I gonna do? And we showed that in the film. The kid goes to Walmart to try to get a job, and it's $7 an hour. That's $150 a week. He makes that in an hour selling water. Like, so what is his motivation to move out of doing what's working for him and helping support him and his family?
Yeah, no, exactly. I thought that was a great scene, especially when he was like doing the math of like, I could work here for a week. Like I said, $150 in a week. He could make that in a couple hours, and then also he's like
Yeah,
helping his friends too. So, yeah, that was a
exactly.
great part of it too.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
appreciate it.
the film is coming out on September 13th, 2024. You are out promoting, getting the word out. But after people see the Water Boys, I imagine you probably have some other projects on the horizon. What can they look next from you?
I don't know. I've got a couple things that I'm developing. I don't like to really speak on them until we make a decision because as an artist, I'm always I think it was Francis Ford Coppola that said it might have been another filmmaker, but he was like, "You never make the film you set out to make," and that's definitely the story of me. Like I'll be writing a script and I'll be like, "This is the next one," then all of a sudden I think of some other idea. I'm like, "No, no, it's this," and then it's I try to have. I've already got a bunch of scripts written that I'm interested in doing something with, and then I'm constantly writing and coming up with new ideas. So I haven't really zeroed in on anything yet, but and also I like to do one film at a time, and I had to really especially a film of this magnitude, I had to really lock in and make sure we got it all the way to the finish line. And even beyond that, just really make sure we set up the right distribution situation so it could be seen, by as many people as possible in all of its splendor. So, that's a huge on-taking because I'm also a producer on the film to deal with all those kind of moving pieces first. So, but you'll get the first interview when we're doing the new joint.
That's awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what's next. But before, while you wait for that, make sure to check out the Waterboyz coming to theaters on December 13th, 2024. This is writer and director Coke Daniels. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thanks for having me.
That was Coke Daniels, the writer and director of Waterboyz, which is coming to theaters on September 13th, 2024. It is an inspirational coming-of-age story about a young black man trying to make it in Atlanta, trying to make his life better, and all the challenges that come up in the process. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.